Did you know that in Dead Island 2, one of the newspaper articles states that a study has discovered that dogs can look up? This is a reference to the Eggcellent Shaun of the Dead, where the subject of dogs and their ability to look up is a reoccurring joke.
Yeah, well, Big Al also says dogs can't look up.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Video Game Easter Eggs, the series where we cover some of the best Easter eggs found in video games. As always, if you think you know of a video game Easter egg that I'm yet to cover, then let me know in the comments and I'll do my best to check it out. Oh, and a big thank you to my Patreon backers and YouTube channel members for their awesome support. Anyway, without further delay, let's get started. Right, let's begin today's video with Certified Game of the Year contender, Redfall. Now, if you've been paying attention, you'll know that my previous statement is completely false. Redfall released and immediately became a laughingstock. Now, it's worth remembering that the studio behind Redfall, that being Arcane, are the same studio behind games like Dishonored and Deathloop. So whilst I and many others weren't particularly excited for Redfall, I kind of assumed it would at least be good. But here we are. Now, despite Redfall not being very good, it does have a couple of Easter eggs, though much like the game itself, they aren't great. First up, at this location on the map, you can find this. Yep, it's a Dark Souls bonfire. Because when you can't think of a good Easter egg to put in your game, just put a sword in a bonfire and call it a day. Next up is the famous 0451 code that has appeared in tons of games in the past and can be found written on a note in Redfall. Again, this is another common Easter egg, but in fairness, Arcane have included the code in all of their games thus far. The final Redfall Easter egg can be seen on certain computer monitors. Scattered around the world of Redfall are PCs that have been left powered on. And when examining the desktop, we can see icons for a Wolfenstein game and 2017's Arcane developed Prey. I mean, I didn't say the Redfall Easter eggs were going to be good, but if a game has Easter eggs, I feel it's my duty to cover them, regardless of how uninspired they are. Don't worry though, not all the Easter eggs in this video are this bad. Up next are more Easter eggs from the excellent Forgive Me Father. Now, we did cover Forgive Me Father back in episode 98 of this series, where we found a very serious reference to the Dark Knight's Joker. Well, it turns out there was one more reference in the Asylum cells that I missed. So this mask, left laying on the floor, is a reference to Hannibal Lecter, and more specifically his appearance in the 1991 movie The Silence of the Lambs. The other Forgive Me Father Easter egg also references a classic Hollywood movie, though this particular reference is in danger of becoming overused. During the game's first level, you can find this. So both the carpet and the door itself are a reference to the Stanley Kubrick movie The Shining. Now, regular viewers of this series may recall that we found the same reference in Dead Island 2 a couple of weeks ago, and it has featured in plenty of other games before. Next up is One Step After All. One Step After All is a first-person walking simulator that sees you exploring the depressed thoughts of a man named Steve. It's pretty standard walking simulator stuff, though it does have a couple of cool Easter eggs, the first of which is actually a Dark Souls reference that thankfully isn't a bonfire. If you climb to the top of this tower and jump off, this will happen.
Shit, I created a temporal paradox.
So this death screen is almost identical to the death screen seen in the Dark Souls series. The other One Step After All Easter egg is actually kind of debatable. As you explore the game, you can find this.
I'm right behind you, Steve. I'll be here to to watch your fall. I'm right behind you, Steve.
So this flaming scarecrow will follow you around the game, but only moves when you aren't looking. Now this could be a nod to the weeping angels from Doctor who also only move when you aren't looking, but I'm not 100% sure if that's what this scarecrow is referencing. I mean, the similarities are there, but I don't like the idea of labelling all creatures that move when you aren't looking as references to Doctor Who. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. So the Battlefield games have had an obsession with sharks for what seems like ages now. Both Battlefield 4 and Battlefield 1 featured giant sharks that could be summoned in-game, but so far, Battlefield 2042 has been suspiciously fish-free. Well, that changes today. On the breakdown map, you can find this. Okay, so it's not quite as in your face as a shark leaping out of the ground, but frozen in ice is a very, very big shark. Some may even say it's a megalodon. So far, no one has figured out how to set this shark free, and given the series' history of spectacular shark-based Easter eggs, it must be possible. I'm also pretty sure that this wasn't in the game at launch, or at least I hope that it wasn't, as that would mean I've walked past it a whole bunch of times. So if you can make me feel better about myself and tell me that this was added in an update, it would be much appreciated. Right, let's end today's video with Apex Legends. Now, I don't know about you, but there is nothing worse than going to start a game and then having to wait for an update to download. I know that these updates often fix bugs and glitches, but most of the time it feels like nothing changes and I just have to wait before I can actually play the game I bought. Well, I don't mind game updates as much when they add cool Easter eggs. At the beginning of May, Apex Legends received an update which, among other things, made changes to the game's firing range. This area is the perfect place to practice using the game's many weapons and experiment with its vast cast of characters. It's also home to a really, really cool Easter egg. If you head to the back of the map and crouch down near some rocks and change character, you'll be able to explore the firing range in third person.
I'm back. You guys miss me? Of course you did.
Okay, so that's cool, but that's not the Easter egg. If you activate third person and climb to the top of this flag, this will happen. So the camera will pan around your character as the sound of a bird-like creature can be heard. This is of course a reference to the Assassin's Creed series and its synchronization points. Now originally I thought that this was hinting at a collaboration between Apex Legends and the Assassin's Creed series, but unless I'm being really stupid, I can't seem to find anything indicating that this is the case. I mean, it may just be a really cool Easter egg, but don't be surprised to see a crossover between the two soon.